Hey everybody, our bulb planting adventure is not over. So I've got Liam back.
It is not over. And I am back. I passed the first test.
You guys were great. You guys were very encouraging. I think we might make a gardener out of him yet.
Yeah, good luck. Thank you very much.
So what we've got, first of all, there were a lot of comments and questions on the last video.
Right.
So big question people have is, how is your wrist doing?
Ow. 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 It's okay. I'd say 2 days and it felt better.
Okay. So people did have some advice for you, and there were lots of comments and questions on both the two videos that we did on bulb planting. So this is going to be a little bit of Q&A before we get started doing some more planting, because we were a little inspired.
Absolutely. We were.
So I'll start with the advice that people had.
It was going to be over, but now it's not over.
Well, I thought we were really done.
No, I've got more.
So first comment was from Seed Saver Diane. She wrote, hey, the tension was set too high on the drill, which causes it to kick back. And
that would be kind of logical, but we didn't think of that. So thank you.
We did when we put the bigger auger on. When we started, we were adjusting it, and then we never went back to it, which is ridiculous. We really should have been thinking about that. So when we plant today, we're going to try it and see if we're able to improve the issue. Yeah, but a lot of people had suggestions, which are kind of suggestions that we found out if you watch the second video. But one was for the auger twisting, can Liam hold it so the other part of the drill is against his leg? That way it'll catch that. That was from Teresa Berg. Catherine Logan wrote, you can really damage your wrist using the augers. I saw someone solve this problem of wrenching their wrist by bracing the drill against his thigh. And then Garden Envy Wisconsin, I use my auger and it makes work so much easier. I put the drill behind my leg, so if it starts to pull my leg, or if it starts to pull, my leg holds it back instead of my wrist taking the twist. So yes, that is what we kind of discovered by the second round. That drill is going to hit you in the thigh or in the leg, but it's a lot easier.
It's a lot easier to control than if it takes your wrist. I mean, a couple of times I was really a bit nervous.
Yeah, and there was a comment, let's see, Petra Picaccia.
Sounds like an Italian restaurant.
You're making me hungry. Wrote, you're so right to hang on to that auger. My brother tore a muscle in his neck and damaged a nerve and is still suffering. So I believe that. I mean, it'd be very easy to do some damage.
You could really hurt yourself bad.
So be really careful about that. Now, let's see, what the other big question that everybody wanted to know has to do about the location of this house. And they want to know, is it or is it not on the site of a cemetery? So Jill Randolph wrote, what do you mean you built your house on an old cemetery? I'd be scared to death, laugh out loud. And Clayton Como, wow, there are loud cars going by today, aren't
Lots
there?
of cars too.
He wrote, a what? A cemetery? Can't just leave me hanging. History buff here. So tell us, what is the real history?
Well, first of all, we didn't build this house. This house was built, I want to say, I think around the turn of the century. It's a 4-square. And it was the site of the original town cemetery. And so the only thing I can tell you is there's a small bluff not too far from Hillside. And when my father was a child, he said that they used to go up and they could collect coffin handles, brass coffin handles, because when all the bodies were exhumed, when the new cemetery came into place.
So they moved all the bodies.
Yeah, moved all the bodies like in the
Supposedly.
late 1800s. And so he would collect coffin handles. Now, when I was a kid, I used to go up there and I remember kicking chunks of marble down, old tombstones. And then about 20 years ago, they put this new sewer lines in, and they were digging up tombstones all over the place and bones. And I know there were I remember the city work, a couple of skeletons were dug up over in the middle of the street there. And my dad, like I said, when he put the stairs in, he dug up a complete skeleton.
So they said they moved all the bodies, but clearly whoever was in charge of that did not quite ideal job.
Right. So
there are no high reports of ghosts or spirits in this area, though. So I will.
Well, I don't know about that. I've had some. Nothing that I could feel comfortable talking about.
This is not going to become a ghost hunter. Well, maybe it will.
Hey, maybe we should go.
Anyway, there was another topic that came up, and so Barbara McCann wrote, did you watch Erin, the impatient gardener, plant her bulb lawn last week? This was her second year of planting thousands of bulbs. And C. Olson wrote, impatient gardener just increased the size of her bulb lawn. She used various bulb varieties with fine foliage that could blend well with the grass and not stand out as much as the large bladed foliage of regular daffodils. And her video came out the day after we planted this.
Right.
And
but now I have to say I'm in competition with her because she planted over 3,000 bulbs.
We were at like 450 bulbs, maybe not even 450.
We're not going to get there this year, but I'm going to continue to compete with her.
I have to say, Liam, I wish I could have recorded Liam watching her video, because it was like watching someone like at a bulb planting rally where he was just like you were so excited. You're like, and look at that, and look at that. And what were your big takeaways from her video?
Just that, well, one of the thing was when she plants, like daffodils, she said it's really important you put them with the root down. But the other...
And it's easier to put those in individually.
Yeah, because they're larger. But then the other smaller ones, she basically just puts 2 or 3 into a hole at a time. And she doesn't necessarily worry about whether they're up or down. She said the averages, I mean, some of them might not come up. But she said usually the roots find their way and it'll be fine.
And Erin from Impatient Gardener is like a natural teacher. Like she's got a really good way about her. And also very random, which that's at that point when she talked about doing it random, Liam was like, yes, she's my kind of gal.
Yeah, because it would be really, really tough to have to go on your hands and knees and,
Well, I think some people would love that, but I think these just lend themselves to that.
Not at this temperature. And he's wearing shorts, go figure.
It is a little cold for shorts, but I'm doing it anyway. Let's see what else people had to say. So here's someone who said, I wondered if the drill if the drill size affected the auger. She has a small one, but it's 20 volt. And I mean, ours is an 18 volt and it works fine.
It's an M18, a Milwaukee M18, but it's powerful.
Yeah, so it's a good one. I think if you did have a really, like one of those really cheapy ones, it probably would be a problem.
But it also depends on your soil too. If your soil is soft, although I thought that the cemetery soil was going to be much harder, and it really wasn't much different than the new lawn.
Yeah, it just had a lot of roots.
Just a lot of tree roots.
That would get caught in there, so that was a bit of a problem. And then someone did ask, does the drill matter? I have a 20 volt. Is that heavy or strong enough? So I know Garden Answer did a bunch of videos about using augers and drills, and so they have some suggested ones, and usually it's like the ones that are used as paint mixers or something like that. Yeah. Those are or cement mixer ones. Those are always good ones to use. And then more talk about the auger. Nicole Brush wrote, I love my little Amazon auger. I put 2, 4, and 6-inch marks on my auger with nail polish. So I like that idea. So basically she's taking this and then she marks it with a really distinct, you could use paint as well, but nail polish would work. And then that way you're able to tell, because it's really hard when you're drilling down to tell really how far you are.
And you're also worried, I mean, I was worried that it was going to grab me again. So your hand, you're thinking about each time you put it in. And so a mark like that would at least, because the farther you go down, the more chance you have of kickback.
Probably.
Put it that way.
Yeah. And then Deb TJ wrote, I have a proven winner white auger and very satisfied with it. Someday I want to try bulbs in large containers. Not sure how that would work, but I am interested. And I did a video where I planted some of them, because we used to do that for your mom all the time.
Yeah.
So we would plant them, and I had that video. You can leave them out. You just have to be careful that the critters don't get to it, and make sure that your drainage hole doesn't freeze up. And you just plant them like regular. But I did find like sometimes you'll have plants that they say, planted at a depth of 6 inches, and your container might only be 6 inches tall. Yeah. So I just always make sure there's a layer of soil, then I put the bulbs in, and so I kind of put them in the middle or towards the bottom of the container. That's what I've done with daffodils and tulips and ranunculus and anemone, and they all did fine that way. So bulbs are really forgiving usually. So
well, that's what I think. It seems to me that was another thing I got from her. She said that everything they need is right in that pack, in the bulb itself. It's like a complete package.
And that is the other thing. Watching Erin's video, we got our inspiration just from a picture that we saw.
Right.
So we didn't do any research. She recommended a whole bunch of other types of plants.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. I was just thinking daffodils.
Because that's what you saw in your picture.
And that's what I like.
Yeah. A lot. And watching her video really got us going, because this last weekend we were invited to an artisan show in Elmhurst, Illinois, which is outside of Chicago. And we stopped at some nurseries or places that we knew would have some bulbs, and we kind of went a little crazy.
Yeah, a bit.
So we went definitely beyond daffodils.
But it was 50% off. How could you say no?
That's most of them were pretty far
40
off.
or 50% off.
And I will say, like the places that we went to, so the box stores, a lot of that was picked over. There was just like some daffodils and a lot of tulips left, maybe some allium. But we went to Stein's in Wisconsin, which is kind of along Lake Michigan, and there's a bunch of locations. I think they have like 21 stores. And they had a really good selection of kind of those really more unusual ones.
Huge selection.
Yeah, so when we're planting, I'll talk more about which ones we chose, and we did base them a lot on what Erin had planted. So now, some more comments, and this is kind of a grouping of them. Elaine Washington wrote, I use many augers. Longer is always easier. Having a drill with a handle is so much easier as well. I found that I got better using the auger with practice.
Yeah, it's true.
So your favorite was the longer one.
Definitely.
And so that worked for you. You were actually getting the hang of it as you went along.
Yeah, and I wouldn't
right?
mind even the longer one. There's one more that's even longer that I wouldn't mind trying that at some point.
I have a surprise for you. Janet Trent wrote, you need to get the Garden Answer auger. It's 36 inches tall, no bending. Candle Dancer wrote, a bulb auger is a game changer. I got the Laura Garden Answer PowerPlanter edition so I can auger holes standing up. And she said you can basically do hundreds in a day. She lists a bunch of different ones. So read the comments on these because there's a lot more information. And Wendy Welsh wrote, you need the Garden Answer auger so you can stand up with the extra handle on the drill, and they have less flighting, so they are lighter and a true game changer. I'm surprised at how much I love mine. And then Green Thumbelina, Margie says, I have a suggestion for you to consider when planting bulbs. Get the 36-inch Laura Garden Answer edition from PowerPlanter. So
I wish I had one of them.
Oops.
I have a feeling
oops.
I'm getting a present.
You're getting an early Christmas present. So here it is.
Look at that.
And
this is a game changer.
So you really love this one. You can see this one's a foot longer.
How can't I love this one?
And when she mentioned there's less flighting, this is a little bit shorter, which means that it is a little bit lighter. It also means like this one would be intended probably for digging a little bit deeper hole, but for bulbs, this is really good, or annuals.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to trying this.
And we didn't try a PowerPlanter one before, and I'd say the quality looks good.
Yeah.
We're going to find out. You know,
they're all pretty sturdy, but this is the idea that I can stand up and just have more control. I love that idea.
Yeah. So we're putting Liam to work again.
All right, here we go.
Let's see we might have a couple other comments.
Thank you for my Christmas present.
You're welcome. And then also some questions about the cemetery. So Terry Green wrote, do you have to get permission from a cemetery to plant flowers? And D-Light wrote, respectfully, did the cemetery allow you to plant bulbs? In my experience, the cemeteries are very strict about anything interfering with lawnmowers. Maintenance runs over anything and everything that's in the lawn. Yeah. We should have mentioned that in the video that you should check with your cemetery. Especially, I didn't. Newer cemeteries are more strict. And our cemetery is in two parts. So the old section.
Yeah, the old section, like there's very few burials in the old section. That goes back to the 1800s, and so it's always the last to get the grass cut and anything. So I'm not too worried about it. But
so we are taking a risk, and we don't have any control over when they mow, but the grass in that area also isn't the highest grade grass, so it takes it's usually pretty late in the season before it gets tall enough in that section. Yeah. It's nice enough grass, but it's kind of lazy starting.
But I am prepared to put strings on each corner to try.
You'll probably get a nasty note or something.
No, it's the old cemetery. No, they're not that concerned about it, but I think
they're pretty lax in our cemetery, especially in the old section. Yeah. But other cemeteries are extremely strict, so don't just go out there and start planting bulbs or shrubs or plants or anything. No. You need to know what the rules are.
Yeah.
Okay, and then
so we're bad.
We are bad. We do what we say, not what we do.
Yeah, exactly.
Now there were a couple really nice comments, so I'm going to share those about you. So one of my favorites was Bonnie McCormick wrote, welcome, Liam. Corey, we've been waiting for this moment, and you can't ungive us Liam. That would be like holding a steak over a pit of lions and saying, here, kitty, kitty, then taking it away. Welcome to the party, Liam. I hope your hand feels better.
It does feel better. And thank you so much. I would like to thank the Academy and so many other people.
This is going to go to his head. I better be careful about this. But no, I bet a lot of you have been in this situation where you have somebody in your life who maybe isn't as into gardening, and you like gardens and plants.
I do.
But I wouldn't say you're like an avid gardener or anything.
No,
like
a daffodil is a daffodil, but it's the closest I can get is it's a narcissus. But I wouldn't know any other Latin name for anything else.
Yeah, so
but I can make something up.
Yeah, well, you always do. I think between me and your encouragement, we can get Liam actually really on board with all this stuff. So we also have Idaho Garden. I need more Liam in my life. Some days I think you can have them.
Please keep sending your love.
G. Hagerman wrote, you guys are such a hoot. Definitely got Caddyshack vibes looking at your planted lawn. It's going to look so beautiful when they all bloom. And then KAC wrote, the daffodil dance. You could be like Johnny Appleseed and plant extra daffodils all over town. If we didn't get in trouble for it, I'd be tempted.
I would do that. I would love to do that,
We
actually.
have some neighbors who actually, we could stick some daffodils in their yard. They wouldn't be after us if we did.
Yeah, but if they catch us, anybody catching you drilling holes in their lawn, I don't think.
Yeah, maybe.
And I just have to make a quick side there. The G. Hagerman, I think I know that woman. And yeah, I really like you too.
So I think what we should do next is get ready to do some planting. So we have a choice. We can either try to kind of dig up our existing holes or start new ones. Because we planted these over a week ago, and usually if you use an auger and there's a bulb there, it just throws it out, doesn't necessarily damage it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to risk it. I think it'll be just as easy for us to just drill some new ones.
Yeah, I think we can see, because there's still you can still see the dirt where we dug the other hole, so I'll just avoid those places and
yeah,
should be fine.
So while we're planting,
next year would be different though. It would be harder next year.
Oh, we will definitely be throwing up more. Although, hey, maybe it'll be so beautiful and perfect.
We won't have to plant anymore, but I'm in competition with, I'm telling you.
Our yard is like half or quarter the size of her area.
It doesn't matter. It's all about the show.
Let's see how it goes in spring.
All right.
Okay, so let's jump in.
All right.
Okay, this came with some instructions. One thing that PowerPlanter said was that you should take the battery out when you do this so that doesn't accidentally take off on you.
Okay.
You're going to have to line it here. I'll hold that.
Hold that. I can't do it all. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Okay, and let's try it on a low setting first.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I have something else I'm going to show you.
Just wait, he's got something else he's going to show us. He's bringing me another gift.
Okay. So I did go and try to get some of these handles that you attach, but this particular drill, they don't fit on it. There's not a way to, a spot where you can get this. And I tried all kinds of different ways. I even got the one from Milwaukee, and it's not for this size drill because it has this these little catches here that this would fit in, but this is for a bigger device. So I'm sure they make one, but that didn't work.
How did I do? I forget how.
So I did it left hand.
Left hand, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. So any kick?
No, just that one. No, not so bad.
Okay. Let me give you a rundown of all the plants we're putting in the ground today, starting with Snowdrops. So I chose the shorter variety. There are some taller varieties, there's some doubles, but I chose these specifically because they remind me of the ones that I always see in Ireland, so I have a little bit of a nostalgia for those. Then there's Iris reticulata. So these are a very short variety, and I absolutely love irises, so I'm looking forward to seeing how these tiny varieties do out there in the lawn. And I'm looking forward to the Chequered Lilies. This is a type of Fritillaria, especially because the dark varieties have that really unique checkerboard pattern on the petals. And I haven't actually gotten to see these in person, so I'm looking forward to that. Another one I have never seen in person is Siberian Squill. Looks beautiful. That blue color looks fantastic, so I'm curious to see how those do. And we have a couple colors of tulips, but these are not your regular big showy tulips. These are a really short variety, they're deer resistant, and they're better at naturalizing than the tulips that we normally see. So the colors I have are Tarda, Little Beauty, and then the candy corn mix. And we grabbed some muscari. These are those grape hyacinths. So these are those tiny little compact varieties that come up nice and early, and they can really spread out quite a bit. They're not necessarily invasive in our area, but I have heard people have trouble with them. We have the Grape, the Delft Blue Blend, and the Peppermint. And lastly, we have some anemones. This is the Blanda mix. This is a variety that's hardy down to zone 4, and that's important because some of the other anemone that are out there are not that hardy. So I'm looking forward to seeing these nice blue, lavender, and white flowers in this mix. Last week we planted about 450 plants. This week it was 800, so that brings our total to 1,250. So we are nowhere near the Impatient Gardens bulb lawn, but hey, I think we're on to a good start. Liam also picked out some very showy double tulips and double daffodils and a couple other plants that we're going to put into containers. A lot of tulips aren't real good about coming back year after year, so these we're going to put in containers so we can bring them indoors, enjoy them early in the season, so we're looking forward to that. Some of the daffodils, we'll have them in containers, we'll let them run their course until the foliage starts to turn all yellow, and then we could plant those in the yard if we wanted to. So there's some options with those down the road. There was quite a range in the price per bulb, so our lowest price bulbs were about 16 cents each. Meanwhile, our more expensive ones were 65 cents each. So the fancier tulips and daffodils were consistently more expensive than a lot of the other ones, and we did get all of these for at least 40% off. A lot of them had even deeper discounts. So in total, we ended up spending about $395 on bulbs. That's a crazy amount of bulbs. I think in total we probably have 1,300 bulbs. That's more than I would normally spend on plants that I'm not real familiar with. I think normally I would probably grab one bag of each of the varieties and see how they do in my yard before I invest that much into all these bulbs. But hey, I figured Liam wants big impact. We're going to give it a go and see what happens, and we'll figure it out from there. I also have a little bit of grass seed left over from earlier in the season, so I think I'm going to sprinkle some of that in the holes. And I have some pest repellent just because we have a real squirrel and chipmunk problem. So I'm just going to sprinkle this on. Importantly, wear gloves with this because this stuff often stinks and has weird stuff in it. So keep that in mind. Okay, what's the verdict? Do you like the original extended one or the extra long one?
This is the winner. The scepter.
Was it easier?
Yeah, no, it was easier. The height is what does it. It's that much taller, and so for tall people, I mean, not even for tall people, but for me, it just was much easier because I didn't have to bend over at all. And I felt like I had more control because it was closer to my body and higher. You know what I mean?
What about the kick problem? Did you have the kick?
No, the kick problem is gone, especially we lowered the speed, which made a huge difference.
Yeah. So thanks, Seed Saver Diane, for reminding us of that. So we just had it on the lowest setting, and it was more than enough.
Absolutely fine. You don't have to have it on the high power setting.
Yeah, and I will say I was working at a disadvantage because this time I did wear gloves, but I had to use 2 left-hand gloves because that's all I had. Next time I will wear knee pads. I know some of you are going to comment on my dirty knees, but
I can buy you a new pair of gloves if you want. I mean, you don't have to do.
You get a big old auger, and I get gloves. Hey, you know who's got to get their hands dirty.
But he called this my Christmas present. Come on, I want more than an auger for Christmas.
You're going to have beautiful bulbs all next spring.
Like a gift certificate to a whiskey store.
Oh dear. Okay, everybody. Thank you guys for watching. If we think of more, we'll add it.
Yeah.
But really do appreciate you watching, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
Thank you.